Hello, hello, hello. It's still a little dark in here, but we're just gonna do these because otherwise I won't get them done. So tonight I'm gonna reach for a bottle of humility in order to do this. So I'm gonna share this too. Bear with me here. Okay. See if anybody is out there tonight. Hi, Elle. Nice to have you see me. Hey, Lori. Oh, people are, hi, Lindy. So I'm going to start way back. And in order to do this, hey, Rita. In order to do this, I'm going to use the bottle of humility oil. It's a little bit challenging to go back in time and tell these things, but you know that you're through them emotionally when you can talk about it without having an emotion, like a release of some sort. But to do this, I put on my little bottle of humility here, this blend from Young Living Essential Oils. And I'm just gonna go back to my life in 2008, way back then. I was turning 40 years old that year. I was 39. And I was working really strong at being the best I could be. And I did that by, actually it was 2009. 2008, I studied with Gary Young at Young Living Essential Oils in Ecuador for 2 weeks, and it was life-changing. It was life-changing because I learned so much valuable information that helped me in my wellness. And then in 2009, I went back to Ecuador for another 2-week stint with Gary and all the staff and leaders. There were 100 of us both years that we spent such quality time together. And it was in 2009 that I met a lot of, I already had friends in Young Living, but 2009 I met some amazing spiritual friends, amazing people from all over the world, Australians, people from Europe, Fee from the Asia, Malaysia market, all people, Tracy Griffiths, and just all of us friends. I got to know Courtney and Marcella. I was a little bit like, back then we didn't know each other very well, and she was such a powerful leader. I was in awe of her. I got to meet Kathy Cowie and a lot of different people that are now my really close friends in my life. I met on that trip in 2009. And after that trip in 2009 is when people talked me into doing the business of Young Living Essential Oils and more sharing my wellness knowledge. I was already a yoga instructor of many, many years, teaching kids yoga and adult yoga and working with people individually, but didn't really own it until 2009. And so part of owning it, I told you I've had a lot of hormonal stuff, and the hormonal stuff has always come on the 29th year, or on the 9th year, the 29th, the 39th, and now the 49th. And when I went to Ecuador in 2009, I did some work on learning about my hormones. And you can find some fun chapters in one of my books that I've written. You can look on my website for all that. I'm not really trying to sell my book in this, but you can read some funny stuff that went on. And I ended up in 2009 in that trip to Ecuador losing 35 pounds afterwards. I did fasting. I just didn't feel like after that experience, I didn't need food for the same reasons. And I did this cleansing process while I was there, which made me not want to put the crud back in my life. I didn't want French fries anymore. I didn't want chips anymore. I didn't want gluten or dairy or even alcohol. I didn't want that wine and beer anymore. And I really went clean with my diet and lost 35 pounds as I was working out and getting really strong. And after tonight's talk, I'll do a post in the next few days showing you before and after pictures of what I'm talking about here, because I'm going to cover a big span. Hopefully, but I don't want to go on too long. So with that being said, I started doing the Young Living business, and I feel really blessed launching that business back then because I got to travel and learn from Gary Young. And in that, I took every opportunity to learn. So in that year of 2009, I think I was a senior star just from naturally sharing to get my oils for free, but not really knowing much about it. And then coming home and owning it and saying, I really want to do Young Living as a business. And I came home, oh my goodness, I'm low battery. We'll see how this goes. I came home saying, I'm going to do this as a business. And I invited my entire, whoever was signed up underneath me, which I think was about 50 or 60 people, maybe 70, that just naturally I met along the way and knew how to sign people up, but didn't know much about the business. I invited them all to a business builder meeting, and I launched the business, and 22 people showed up. Those 22 people are still building with me today, all at different levels. Some are top leaders, and some are just, naturally sharing as it goes. But I really launched the business, and I went from that senior star to silver in 3 months. It wasn't short after that that I went gold. And in that year of 2009 to 2010, there was it was one of the I think it was the second year of incentive trips. And I was really motivated because it was a 2-week long trip on a Mediterranean cruise, and it was a worldwide trip. So this was an opportunity for me to travel with the friends I made in Ecuador 2009 to see them again on the ship if I won this trip. So I was very incentivized to, is that a word? Incentivized to win this trip. And I ended up number 6 in the company with signups back then. So I say that to you because it shows how I was working really strong. I was staying up really late hours. I was working it really strong, signing up as many people. And my record in a month of signups was 75 people in 1 month. So it was major, strong action going on back then. And I was in it, and I traveled, so I did win that trip. So, but before then came the Egypt trip, to go to Egypt and Jordan with Gary Young. And I went, and that was in February. And that was, oh my goodness, so life-changing. All of us, there was 100 of us on that trip. All of us on that trip were like, oh, so much education, so much spiritual experiences, things that you just never would dream of. I mean, riding a camel in the middle of the desert, dressed as a man, under the sunshine for 8 hours. And I say it like that because that's probably one of my number one memories after having my children and being in this family that is so wonderful and I'm so blessed to be in. That experience of being out in the ancient pyramids was like, so incredible. So from that trip in January, this was January 2010. From that trip, so Ecuador 2008, Ecuador 2009, January 2010 in Egypt and Jordan. Every month I was in a different element. I came home from Egypt and Jordan straight to Palm Springs, California for my mom and dad's, I think it was their 50th wedding anniversary. Might have been more. I think it was their 50th. And went to a spa that did a facial and an this eye thing to me. Don't know if that had anything to do with it, but just putting it in there. The next month I went skiing with my family in Lake Tahoe for a family vacation. And when I was on that family vacation, I had this major rash show up around my eyes that I literally couldn't. I'm a big snow skier. Love my happy places in the mountains, in the snow. And I couldn't ski for a couple days because I had this massive, painful rash appear around my eyes. I looked like a massive raccoon. And I had to go to the health food store and I got Eye Bright herb and made little sachets. And I have a picture of myself looking like I'm a mummy from Egypt, putting those on my eyes to heal this rash and getting all kinds of different lotions and herbs and different things to try to put on there to get that to go down, right? Not to mention using all the tools that I already had with me. That went away, no problem. The next month, I got flown out to Gary's home to be in his One Gift movie. Not only were we in it in the Egypt trip, but I was the frankincense testimonial. So I got to fly to his home and film my testimonial and spend the day with him at his home. And those were back in the days when Mary and the boys and Gary too were living in Ecuador, but he was home just to film and do some work. So he made himself breakfast that morning and left all the dishes there, and we're in his house filming. So I got to clean his kitchen. That's kind of fun, you know, to say, you know what, I got to help and I got to serve as I was there. So I was there, and then I came back to Chicago. I live in Chicago, so I'm back and forth to all these places, and then I go back for convention. And it's a crazy wild convention with all of us dressed in our turbans and our Egyptian wear and late nights, all of that, right? Back up just a little bit. I forgot the trip. We went on the 2-week trip to the Mediterranean. 2 weeks, 14 days on a boat, going to Turkey and all over Greece. Oh my gosh, an amazing trip with amazing friendships with Julie Chertower and Kimberly Borman, all these amazing friends that we made on the trip. But I got off that boat and something happened to me. And this was the beginning of whoa. What happened to me is all of a sudden pieces of my vision were missing. It wasn't blurry. It wasn't like that. It was a crazy thing. And so what did I do? I started drinking things that could help me. I started putting things around that could possibly help me. I started doing all that, but of course I went to the eye doctor. And I went to 3 different eye doctors for opinions, and they told me I had something called iritis, which is inflammation in the front of the eye. And at that point, they gave me steroid drops. And they gave me generic steroid drops. So I thought, okay, no big deal. I'm going to use this medication for the first time in 15 years. Yeah, hadn't had medication in the first time in 15 years. We'll revisit that in a little bit. But I did it, and I started using those eye drops, and I just kept going. Then came convention. Then came Silver Club the next month. So get it, I'm in a different element. I'm not stopping. I'm staying up late nights. I'm moving. Nothing's stopping me. I'm so excited about my newfound business. I'm going gold. I'm almost gold. Right after Silver Club, I went to gold rank. And so Silver Club, and then I went on a trip to Mexico with my brother's company in support of his company. And so I went on that trip. And then it came August, and school was about to start. Now, hence, I'm a mom of 2, and my husband worked for IBM and traveled internationally as well. So do you see all this? I'm like, it's the hamster in the wheel. Going, going, going. Do you think my adrenals were a little bit charged? Do you think there was a lot going on? Absolutely. But I have to tell you, it was fun. It was a blast. It was so much energy, so much happening, so much goodness. I had all these amazing leaders, remember from my business builder meeting, that we were all learning fresh business, and we were signing people up, and we were passionate about getting these little bottles of love in people's hands. And I just went, until all of a sudden, I realized these drops are not making my eyesight better. It's getting worse. Nothing is working that I'm doing for my eyesight. The medical world, these doctors, it's not happening. And here's my first lesson. I was ignoring a lot of messages because I was going so fast, moving so fast. So the number one takeaway so far is, are you moving so fast that you're not paying attention to something very important in your life? So stop for a minute, feel your feet, and check in and say, is there anything in my life that I'm not paying attention to that I really need to pay attention to? Take a deep breath here. You can pause this later. You can rewatch it and pause it and say, is there anything I'm not paying attention to? Because I was moving so fast, doing the drops in my eyes, didn't really change much of my diet yet. I changed my diet because I lost all that weight, but I wasn't changing my lifestyle. I was moving. That's number 1. Number 2, in August, my eyesight was not getting better. And I had to get on the phone with my best friend, Stacy Van. And I said, it's not getting better. I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss. And this is the number 2 lesson, is that when you have something going on, not always can you figure it out. Not always can you be the one to say, here's the doctor you need to go to. I called Stacy and I said, all right, I need help. Number 3 lesson, ask for help when you need it. So number 1, is there messages you're ignoring? Number 2, ask your friends to help you, because you may, even though you have all this experience and all this knowledge, you may not know what to do to help yourself. And number 3, you gotta really ask. Don't expect your friends to come to your rescue. So many of my friends don't ask, and sometimes I don't jump in. I need them to ask, because sometimes you wonder if you're overstepping. You gotta ask, my friends. You gotta say, I need help. I need help. Please help me. Stacy was there on the phone. She doesn't live by me, so we're on the phone, and I'm like, I need to find a new doctor. I need to figure something out. She's online searching. She finds me the specialist. And I go to Dr. Goldstein. Big call out. If you need an eye specialist in Chicagoland area or the world, she pretty much trains everybody in iritis, uveitis, scleritis, all these itises in the eyes. And I made an appointment and I went to her. Number 4 lesson. First thing she says to me, generic Pred Forte. Now, and I want this known to the world, and I hope I don't get in trouble for it. Generic Pred Forte does not work. You need the brand name. So if medications that you're on do not work, maybe it's because you need the brand name. I'm not an expert in that. I don't really know. But I know that for Pred Forte eye drops, I need the real deal. And I also know, okay, so that's number 5, right? I think that's 5 or whatever. But I also know, here's another lesson. There's so many lessons in this. The other lesson is, I, previous to this, was walking the earth, educating people about holistic care. And I pretty much had a big ego about not using pharmaceuticals, not using Western medicine. Didn't need it, because I had all my tools of holistic and it was working for me. But let me tell you, when I got this situation happening and you're losing your vision and you feel like you're gonna go blind, I was very grateful for Western medicine and now live a very integrative thought process. Integrative is the way. Do I always think that you need both holistic and medical? Yes, the two join together and come together. But do not be against one or the other. They come together and they unite you. They give you the full powerhouse of strength. So I go there and I end up having uveitis, which is inflammation of the optic nerve. And it's similar, the picture, it's not blurry vision, it's pieces of the picture disappearing. So I could see your face and the silhouette of your face, but I may not see your eyes or your nose. Pieces of the picture were missing. And so what did I have to do? I was okay with eye drops. No big deal, they're just eye drops. I was okay with that. But then she said, you need oral. You need the medication of steroids. And I was like, no, I just lost all this weight. I am in such great shape. I do not want to have moon face. No. But what did I do? I gave in. I took the steroids. And did my eyesight improve? Yeah. The inflammation went down. Now, pause, back up a little. When I went to her and we had full-blown makeup of blood work, everything, they could find nothing wrong with me except for the inflammation in my eyes. Frustration, emotional, anger. Oh my gosh, why? That was the big message. Like, why is this happening to me? And I know there's some of you out there going, why is this happening to me? I got really caught up in the why. But I had to take the solution and try the medication to see what could happen and see what was going to be my future with my vision. So I took the steroids, my vision returned. okay? So I'm on this low dose scaling back, and oh, lo and behold, not slowing down my life any. Slowed down me a little bit as I couldn't drive when I couldn't see, but I made arrangements, and I had a 16-year-old. I'm pretty sure Ben was 16. It's a little bit hard to remember because this is all in the past. All I want to keep saying, this is in the past. This was 2010. Been there, done that. Psh. But the lessons are big. So I think I had a 16-year-old, so he would drive me around, or my husband would drive me around. And I slowed down my life a little bit, right? Except that I traveled. I went to Australia with my husband. He had a business trip, and I tagged along, and I got to see Australian friends, and I got to see Australia, and I got to climb trees and see the zoo and see kangaroos for the first time and all that stuff. I got there off the plane. My legs were like tubes, swollen. I didn't really understand it. I didn't know much about the lymphatic system. Hadn't really felt that before. So hence, I'm walking around on clubs. But I'm a yogi, right? So I did legs up the wall. I did all my yoga practice. I tried everything. And I realized, whoa, I need to do more. I need to know more. And so I made it through that trip. I did drink on that trip with some friends. I had some party time. And that wasn't real smart. Again, I wasn't changing my life drastically. I did for that time period in 2009 into 2010, but I had the balance. I was down to 122 pounds fighting weight from high school, and maybe even lower, 120, and I was in great shape, and I had that place where I just thought I was everything. Ooh, different plans. Came back from that trip, lost my vision again. Gone. Back on steroids. Whoa, but this time they said, and this is where I'm going to end the story. This time they said, I might have to hold this. They said, not just steroids, we want you to take another medication. And oh boy, did I fight it. For 3 weeks, I fought that medication because it was a cancer drug, methotrexate. And many of you that are watching this or that watch this video may be on it because it's a pretty common drug for inflammatory issues, for arthritis, anything with itis in it. It's a pretty common drug. I had an event to put healing around this drug and really decide if I put it in my healing box, which is right back there where I put people's names in and I do Reiki for them, and it's my prayer box, and I put it in my prayer box, and we did this like ceremony at the yoga studio around it to say this is going to really help and heal, and this is the opportunity and the choice that I have, because I'm leaving out tons of details of all the holistic things I worked on and tried and tried and tried. But I kept coming up with lack of vision. So I did the methotrexate one time. And in the post I will post after this video in the next day or so, you will see my before and my after of what happened to me with one dose of that. Does it happen to everybody? No. I was one of the, I think 1 or 2% that it happens to. I looked like Shrek. If you would have painted me green, I was Shrek. I could walk down the hallway tooting a song. If I was thinking about going to the bathroom, I would go. And I had sores all over my face, and I have my hair up today, but I lost all this hair under here. There was just a ton of hair loss that happened within one dose from Friday to Saturday. This all happened to me. Like, I woke up and I was like, whoa. I immediately texted the picture to my doctor. She goes, oh my gosh, don't take another dose. Oh my gosh, it's not working for you. Oh my gosh. She was awesome. My doctor is awesome. And she said, no, obviously we cannot do that. So this is where I'm going to stop for tonight, because I want you to know this is a journey. And I want you to know that out of everyone that helped me, I had a team, and we're going to talk about the team next time. Team of 9 doctors that will talk about the differences and how you get your team together and how you keep going no matter what. And the story, this is nothing. This is just the beginning of this deal. But I lost my vision over and over until we found the remedies that would help. Now, it was a combination of keeping my body in equanimity and balance with holistic and medical. And I'll do my best to unfold some, but I want you to know that out of this whole time being in contact with my oils and with my people, not one time did anyone, no, not anyone, not even Gary Young, he did not tell me to ever put oils in my eyes. You never put essential oils in your eyes. Never, ever, ever. That was never a part of my treatment. And I know you guys are probably wondering. I do not fault anything that I was doing for what happened to me either. Nothing that I've gone through created this. This was a combination of many things. And as I unfold this whole story, take by take, there are some things that come, but do I know the true why? I really don't. And that is something that took me a really long time to get over. And I want you to know that all of you that are in a suffering and challenging, ooh, that makes me tear up because I'm not in the challenge anymore. But all of you that are going through that challenge, please know that the why can torment you. And sometimes we just don't know the why. Let it go. Let it go. You may never know the why, and it's okay. More importantly is the solution and your journey along the way and all the people that support you. So is there something in your life that you're not paying attention to, that you need to slow down or pay attention to? Are you asking your friends? Are your friends there for you to help you? And are you saying, I need help? Are you watching your ego? Are you checking in with your ego and realizing that we're all human? Can you let go of the why and just love yourself? That's what I have to say tonight. Thank you for joining me, you guys. Thanks for being there. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear where you're at. Let's be there for each other. Why am I rolling this out? If you're brand new to it, you can catch it on my YouTube channel. Each one of these will be put in my YouTube channel playlist called Journey On, Love On, and I'll explain the love on as the journey unfolds. And I'm doing this because I finally feel this started in 2010. And it's 2018, and I turned 49 this last week on Sunday, and I feel like it's time to roll this out and share the lessons that I learned. And I will not tell you, I did this to do this, and I healed myself with this, and this, and this, and this. I'm going to share highlights of the lessons, because ultimately I did so much, I don't know what the one thing is. There isn't one thing that I can pinpoint that got me better. It was a lot of everything and a lot of friend support. So love you guys, and I'll post my picture of my beautiful Shrek face is what I call it. And I will post that, and I hope you get a good laugh because at this point I can laugh at it. Have a good night.